Yes, I am. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, 70.3 World Championship in beautiful Taupo, New Zealand. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, SFuels, Right Fuel, Right Time, Deboer Wetsuits, Quintana, and our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Paula Findlay, joins us, just arriving from from Bend, Oregon.
Yeah, from Bend, but we flew through Vancouver, BC. So
oh, you did?
We got like a little taste of home, and then we came over.
Then you came over.
Yeah.
Right. Nice to be. Have you guys raced much here in New Zealand?
Back in ITU days, I raced in Auckland when it was a WTS race.
Yeah.
I raced in New Plymouth for the World Cup, but it feels like a lifetime ago that I've raced over here, and totally different style of racing. So first time in Taupo, though.
So this year, was this the first year that you had a team from TTL?
Here?
No, not so much here, but just that you guys supported a team of athletes.
Yeah, I mean, last time I was here, I didn't even know Eric, so it was like a lifetime, like I said. But yeah, now that we have TTL, it's super cool to be like running down the path and see people wearing the stuff. And yeah, it's not like taking over or anything, but it's cool to see more and more every race. There's people wearing it, and it's especially cool when you're on the other side of the world and there are people wearing it. So different at a North American Ironman, but yeah, over here, I guess it's a world championship. So. Well,
but also just, I remember we were in Oceanside and had one of the young pros who was supported by you guys.
Yeah, Kate had a great year. Yeah, there's a lot of outlets of what we're doing, and the development team is one of them. And a lot of our athletes had really good seasons last year. So we actually just had applications for this year's Devo team, 2025 coming up, and we're excited about people who applied and looking forward to doing that again.
I got to get my application in.
I know, Bob, you do.
You don't need a really old, slow people?
I mean, we could make exceptions.
Okay, that would be very cool. So this year, T100, were you happy with T100?
Yeah, T100 is so good for the sport and for pro triathlon. And so is the Pro Series. I mean, there's so much exciting stuff happening.
It's the best time to be a pro ever.
In Ironman, in triathlon now for long distance professional racing. And the T100 was different this year because there was the series and there were a lot of races to go to, a lot of travel, and sort of the PTO as I knew it when I was racing like the Canadian Open and the US Open and the European Open, and I was on the podium in a couple of those races, and now it's just the competitiveness of each race has skyrocketed, and a lot of short course athletes are coming across and racing, and
yes, they are.
The nature of the courses now is that they're very lapped and good for TV. You know, you come by transition 7 times on the bike, so to me it's just a very different feel of a race versus coming to a 70.3 where it's one big lap and there's a huge age group contingency, and yeah, I like both of them, but they're very different. So yeah, it's
like it's a little world triathlon, like when you travel to Yokohama and places like that.
You know,
and there's really no age groupers there. It's just you and the same people you've been training and racing with.
Yeah, there is an age group component of the T100, but it's obviously not as popular as the Ironman branded races, and
it'll get there.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the thing.
But it is, you're right, so much like ITU racing. And when I was in my 20s and late teenager years, I was doing that run around the world, you know, staying in hotels and living out of a suitcase and racing the same people over and over and over. And it has a little bit of that feel to it. So to be honest, it is really nice to come to an Ironman brand event again. I haven't raced a 70.3 since Mont Tremblant. So yeah, these are my favorite. I love the vibe at these races, and especially World Championship. We've only been here a day, and it's already like so exciting.
It's very exciting. And this year you had wins at Mont Tremblant, and you had in St George. Those are 2 very cool courses.
Yeah, my only wins this year were 70.3s, which, you know, that just helps me like have such great memories. I'm like, my favorite races this year were Tremblant and St. George. And yeah, partly because I won them, but also just because I love those courses.
Well, those unique courses. And this course, and you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but this course, from what I'm hearing from people, they're like, this is an awesome course because it's a couple thousand feet of climbing. I got chip and seal roads, so it's going to slow everybody down a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely like a tough, gritty course, and I rode a little bit of it.
Which is sort of you. Tough, gritty type of person,
and not super technical, so it's not like you're in and out of the bars every 30 seconds to corner, and you can kind of put your head down and really ride hard, and that's what I like to do.
That's what you like to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out from the T100, how'd you end up?
10th in the series.
Okay, and 10th place is that was some pretty good dollars.
Oh, we're talking about dollars. I think. I don't even know.
10th place. Oh, I'm looking at the other one. Yeah, 10th place is still.
It's good. I mean, there's
yeah.
This year and last year there's more money making opportunities in pro.
$35,000.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's not bad.
That's a lot of clothing to sell to get the $35,000. That's good. That is really, really good. So for next year, obviously with the Ironman Pro Series, it's 3 full Ironmans and then 70.3 type of things.
Yeah.
I don't see you doing that and thinking about.
I am really thinking about it just because, I mean, it's really intimidating for me to be like, yeah, I'm going for the Pro Series next year because I've never even done one Ironman, and then you have to do 3 if you want to like win or be competitive in the series. So, yeah, I'm kind of like playing with the idea.
Why
of
not?
doing
It's something new.
Yeah, that's true.
It's something new, and it's on courses that maybe you haven't been on before, and a lot of those courses are pretty classic, like Lake Placid, and there's
totally. And like as I near the end of my career, I'm not sure how many more years I'll race for.
Wait.
Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 5.
Near the end of my career, come on, you're just getting going.
Well, I mean, I'm 35, and if I want to do an Ironman, I should maybe do one. So I'm thinking about it, but I'm not decided.
Yes. I remember a couple of years ago we were in Edmonton, and we were talking with Holly Lawrence about, at some point I'd like to do an Ironman. I'm like, hey, if they gave you a wild card, would you do it? She says, fuck yeah.
An Ironman?
Yeah.
Really?
For
Kona.
Yeah.
Yeah, Holly's always been like keen on Kona.
I don't want to do the other crap, but I would do that in a heartbeat.
I'm the opposite. I'm more like, I want to do like Placid or like something not as hot as Kona, but
yes,
maybe. I mean, it's so iconic, and the hype around it from afar is really exciting.
But you're like, Ibiza is hot, right? Dubai is ridiculously hot.
Yeah, my favorite races.
Well, but you were 5th in Ibiza, right? Dubai was so hot. I mean, just watching it on television looked hot. It was like one of those things where you just see people were just like, when you're racing and you have to be thinking about that all the time, that's hard.
Yeah, and it's obviously like late in the season, and training for that type of a race in Oregon where we live was a bit of a challenge for me. But that's why I'm excited to be here. Like, we got off the airplane and it feels fresh and cool and like temperatures that I'm used to, and definitely don't have to worry about the heat here.
No, you're not going to overheat here.
So I'm excited for
sweet.
Not thinking about the temperature or like having to like implement cooling strategies and all that. Like, that's a whole other game when you're thinking about
racing. My God. Yeah, the cooling strategy. Well, and if you go and do an Ironman and qualify for Kona, then you can start thinking about that heat stuff.
Oh, totally. I have to think about it.
You have to spend some time in Kona and get used to that thing.
Yeah, really acclimatize properly. So, but that's hard in a T100 when there's so many races in the year. It's hard to dedicate that time to acclimatizing for one of them when there's so many of them. So, anyway, everything's they're all good.
But the other one that fits you was with a T100, that Alcatraz race. I'm sure you weren't ecstatic about 6th, but that's a cool course.
Yes, the
jumping off the
Alcatraz
boat
race is fun. I've done it a few times also when it was like the actual escape from Alcatraz with the
where
sand
you run
ladder.
the ladder and the whole bit.
Yeah, this was a little bit different, but I mean, I was 6th, but that's the thing about the T100 is it's not a bad race. I was like in the mix, but there's just so many people there that are good. So you can't really look at the number in the placement when you think about these races.
No, it's to be honest, that goes back to World Championship Series as well, because there's so many people who can win the race. It's like a championship race every time you go to the start line with T100.
Exactly.
There's no weak links, right? Yes. You got 15, 20 of the best in the world every week, every time. Yeah, I was just talking with, who was I talking about? I don't know if Matt Hansen or when somebody else was talking about, used to go to races and know ahead of time I can get top 3 here. Mm-hmm. Right? There's not that many people who are going to be competitive. Yeah. Might be a good pro field, half decent pro field, but there's only 3 or 4 who can really win the race. Yeah,
it's changed now.
Yeah, it's changed.
Yeah. Even in Ironman 70.3.
No question.
That too,
yeah. Well, what I've noticed this year, especially in Kona, this last year, was the number of people I'd never heard of who were 22, 23 years old, who grew up watching Ironman on TV, not so much watching Olympics.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of people now coming into the sport going straight to long distance racing or middle distance. And, not as many people going through the short course pathway. So, because there's more money in the sport now, and it's more televised and it's more seen. I think, teenagers and young 20-year-old athletes are like, I'm just going to start with the half Ironman distance. And so it's definitely changing.
So how fun has it been to basically launch your own, your own network with DTL and just see people, like you said, you see people around everywhere you go, but just knowing that you're impacting their lives. They're finding this silly sport and realizing that it's good for them.
Yeah, that's such a big part of why Eric and I still do the sport.
Yeah.
And it's very meaningful to come out and not only have people wearing the gear, but just stopping us and chatting with us and saying, we listen to the podcast, we watch the videos, and it's inspiring.
It's
and
best,
that means
right?
a lot to us. And it honestly takes a little bit of pressure off of the racing, because we can come to a race like this and I'm trying to podium, but also if I don't have my best day, there's a lot more meaning to being here than just my race results. So it's really cool to be running down the path and have people calling my name even just on a training run. And we love it. It's Eric obviously does like the bulk of the work of all that behind the scenes, and I'm a little more focused on the training and racing side at the moment, but regardless, it's like our project and our thing that we really love aside from racing. So it's grown bigger than we thought it would, and it continues to get more popular.
Well,
so that's cool.
There's a bigger meaning, right? There's a bigger meaning to racing. Your race is going to impact somebody else, right? Rather than you're not just going to be evaluated on I got first, fifth, seventh, whatever.
What we've noticed is like our community supports us regardless of our race results.
They could care
like,
less.
We don't even need to race anymore, and they look up to us and think it's cool, and are trying other kinds of racing like trail or off-road stuff or any kind of endurance sport that isn't necessarily swim, bike, run. So that's kind of what we're finding is people are trending that direction a little bit more throughout the year, and that's cool too.
So winter coming up. You guys do a lot of winter stuff?
Yeah, we live in Oregon. I'm Canadian, so I like having seasons, like having a defined off season where you're kind of forced to take a bit of a break from swim, bike, run because of the weather. And we'll probably go down south for a training camp like California or something. In February. So we escape winter eventually, but for now it's nice to go skiing and do some winter sports and
just enjoy yourself.
Take a little bit of downtime. And I think this year more than any year, I'm excited for some downtime, not having a training schedule. And this has been a long year. It's been a lot
of, who were you interviewing the other day? Oh, it was Els Visser. Heard she started her season in January in New Zealand. And
that's crazy.
Right? In January in New Zealand and finishing here this weekend.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Squeezes something in for New Year's. But she's full year and 16
that's the way
races. And I'm like, oh my God, you were a crazy person.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the way the sport is trending. The T100 series starts in March. I raced in Miami, and last race is now in December. So but it's
nutty.
It's okay. It's our job.
What are, in terms of future plans for TTL?
Oh man, I mean, it just keeps naturally kind of growing, but obviously, like, we're putting a lot of work in to make it what we want it to be.
It's a business. It's a business for that you guys will that will be you guys forever, or as long as you want to do it, right?
Yeah, and I think we really gained traction when Eric was putting out a video every week, and we don't do that anymore, but we do have the podcast and the Devo team and like a community of people that really love following it. And I think in the future, we'd like to do more in real life experiences. So we've started at some races doing like TTL meetups or TTL group runs. And
how fun is that?
That's really fun. The turnout is always awesome. So really, it's cool to have an online presence and have people reach out virtually. But when you can really do something in person, I think it brings that much more meaning to it. And you're like, wow, these are real humans that we're talking to and that are watching our videos and listening to our podcast. And you kind of forget that when you're like behind a microphone and a screen. But then when you come to races, it's really cool to know that you are actually making an impact with actual people. So,
of people who didn't know they could accomplish this. They didn't know they could get to the world championships, or they didn't know they could do a sprint triathlon. And because of what you guys are doing, they realize, well, wait a second, why can't I? Why can't I take a big leap here, leap of faith, and see what I can accomplish?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a world championship. It's amazing, the athletes that are here, all the best in the world at the sport. But yeah, that's why I love going to 70.3 St George and 70.3 Tremblant. It's like you really get to see everybody, and to the T100 races as well, of good age group fields where there's some community there as well. So yeah, that's a really cool part of what we do, is we're on course with people that look up to us. And,
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. It's really fun because
Thank
you get just from the pros we've chatted with who now are getting their start because of you guys, right? They're on your team and they're able to travel the world and see what they can do next. That's
totally,
the coolest thing.
Yeah, it is cool to be able to give back a little bit and inspire younger kids to do this, and it's not easy, as we know.
Well, and as somebody who started this when you were so young,
yeah.
And you know that you need that support.
Yes.
You need people who believe in you no matter what your result is.
Totally, yeah.
Love it.
It's important.
Keep doing what you're doing and have yourself a great race on this weekend.
Thank you, Bob. Good
Always
to chat
a pleasure,
with you.
Paula.
Thank you.
Paula Findlay has been our guest again. Breakfast with Bob, 70.3 World Championship. Beautiful toe paw. My name is Bob Babbitt. Hold on. We will be right back.